For many years, I took responsibility for my choice to adopt my daughter out. Her father wanted us to get married, but I was 16. Who wants to get married at 16? It was 1973, and the world was very different to the world we live in today. One of the worst things that could have happened to my parents, middle class Catholic members of society, was having a teenage pregnant daughter. They were shamed by it. My father even said to me, "Don't think you're going to get married." And I hadn't. So they sent me to an unmarried mother's home. Had to be hidden away to make sure no one knew that they had a pregnant, unmarried daughter. So for 5 months, I lived in this Catholic unmarried mother's home. And every day, the nuns, the social workers, even some of the girls in the home would ensure that I knew that the only option for my daughter was to adopt her out to one of these middle-class, wealthy parents who are looking for a child of their own. These parents had to own their own home, as in no debt, and they could provide everything for my daughter that I could not. You're 16, you're still at school. How can you afford to give everything to your daughter, to pay the rent, to look after her and look after yourself? How are you going to do that when you don't even have a job? You haven't even finished school. How are you going to do all of this? Every day they told me that I was the lowest of the low. How dare I have sex before I was married? I was curious. That's all I was. I was curious. I just had to find out what sex was all about. Any other time when you're curious, looking for an answer, looking to understand what it's all about, you're praised, you're celebrated. But of course, this never happened. I was shamed, and I was told continually that if I love my daughter, I will give her to one of these parents who are wealthy, who can give her everything that she needs, desires, and deserves. And of course, I believed them. I was 16. How could I not see that this was the best thing for society? Kim and I reunited in 2001, and I still carry that belief. I thought that I had done the best thing for my daughter, and she should be grateful. I have lived without her for over 27 years. Why shouldn't she be grateful that she was given this better life? But as time went on, and Kim and I started to look into all of this, to look into adoption, the emotional and psychological trauma that had come to her through the early separation from me, her mother, the person who that she had been listening to and hearing my heartbeat from the time she was in utero. From 18 weeks, a baby in utero can hear their mother's voice. So she's moving and feeling all the time with me. So we were connected. We were bonded together. The more that we delved into it, the more that we began to realize that in 1968 in America, they were delving into, psychiatrists and psychologists were researching the psychological and emotional trauma that is caused to a baby from early separation from their mother. 1968. In 1965, Pope Paul VI did a speech. It's called the Gaudium et Spes. And in it, he delves into how important it is to keep mother and child together in society. And we should ensure that we do this and no matter what it costs. That is the most important thing, is preserving family and bringing those people together. Mother and child are the most important. 1973, 8 years after Pope Paul VI's speech and 5 years after the research began, I'm in a Catholic unmarried mother's home where they are ignoring Pope Paul VI and also the research, and they are coercing me to make sure that I adopt my baby out. So why would they do that? Why would they go against the research and the speech about preserving mother and child relationship no matter what? Money. Money. Money is at the basis for so many things. The adoption industry and their practices to ensure that they have a constant supply of babies and money is what is at the basis of the forced adoption practices. Nancy Newton Verrier, in her book, The Primal Wound, she delves into the emotional and psychological trauma caused to the baby, the adoptee. And when she speaks directly to biological mothers, she says, if you ever thought that you could have chosen differently, don't. Because there was no way that you could have ever won against this well-oiled machine, the adoption industry's practices, that always made sure that no matter what they did or said, they would get those adoption papers signed. And when you think about it, here I am in 1973 in an unmarried mother's home where they took a lot more than food and board for my 5 months there from my parents. And then they sold my baby to this wealthy, childless couple for a donation. It's disgusting. So why am I taking responsibility for my choice? Was it even a choice? Recently, Kim asked me, she said, as a person who was a 16-year-old and someone who was raised a 16-year-old, I certainly understand why you didn't want to get married at 16. But did you ever want me? Did you ever want to keep me? And when she asked me that, it hit a really deep wound within me. It was like a kapow, yes. And I thought about it, and I thought, did I ever want her? And my answer is, I never allowed myself. I was never asked. I was never allowed to go down that road. And if I went down it, I couldn't go down it for very long because my parents had made it very, very clear that I wasn't going to get married, that I was adopting my baby out. And it's really, really sad when you think about it, that here I am as a sovereign being. I had no rights. I had no rights in the decision for my baby, for what was best for my baby. I was brainwashed into thinking that if I love my baby, I will give her away to this childless, wealthy couple who can give her everything that I cannot. It's so sad. And what makes it even sadder is that most people in society are so wrapped up, entwined with the beliefs that the biological mother gave away their child. I didn't give away my child. I never had my child. I never took her home. I held her 3 times in hospital And each time they were telling me that they're breaking the law, but we'll let you see your baby now, which they weren't. I had a 6-week provocation period where I could spend as much time with my child to ensure that I have made the right decision for us both. We saw her 3 times, and each time we felt we were sneaking in and we were breaking the law and we were so brave. Years later, I find out that we were allowed to do that. So here they are telling us that we're not allowed to do it. In 2013, the then Australian Prime Minister, Julia Gillard, did a national apology for the forced adoption era practices. And in it, she said that they were brutal, they were immoral, they were inhumane, the way that they treated the biological mothers and made them feel less than in so many ways, the way they shamed them, and also the way their practices in many cases were illegal. So did I have a choice? Was I right in keeping that choice and thinking that I had done the right thing by my baby? The Catholic Church sold my baby, and they coerced me into believing for many, many years. Up until 2017, I believed that I had done the right thing by my baby and that I had given her that better life. It's not good. And in 2017, I apologized to Kim. I always wanted my baby. I just was never allowed to keep my baby. And society and my parents and the world at that time ensured that she was given up for adoption. It was never my choice.